for those in abusive relationships is where the movie starts. One of them is Robert Montague Renfield. He returns us to the beginning of his story. He was a lawyer negotiating a contract with a count centuries ago that would be extremely advantageous to Renfield's family. It was none other than Dracula, the Prince of Darkness, who was the count in question. Renfield gained immortality and the ability to develop great strength and speed when he consumes bugs after Dracula made him his familiar after finding him to be an effective helper. Every so often, hunters try to kill Dracula, but the count persuades Renfield that if Dracula were slain, he would be imprisoned for helping him. An image of Renfield rupturing a salt ring encapsulating Dracula enables him to transform into smoke and causes a priest to explode into pieces. Dracula attacks the other hunter, but because he was exposed to sunlight, he burned and was engulfed in flames until Renfield extinguished the flames. Renfield is tired and worn out from bringing victims for his lord. Caitlin, one of the support group members, talks about her drug-addicted boyfriend Mitch. Renfield concludes that giving criminals to Dracula rather than innocents will make him feel less guilty. He encounters Mitch and his thugs in a warehouse and takes out 2 of them, but Mitch is killed by Apache Joe, a hitman. Joe cuts Renfield across the stomach, but after eating a bug, he finds the power to knock Joe's head off his shoulders, sending it hurtling toward the car of local gang leader Teddy Lobo. Teddy leaves the area. Teddy arrives at the scene as Officer Rebecca Quincy and her colleague Chris are conducting a drunk driving check. Teddy starts to drive away after Rebecca recognizes him due to the large amount of cocaine in his vehicle. His tires are shot out by Rebecca, who then causes him to start running before hitting him over the head with her baton to put him out. Unfortunately, the Lobos gang employs an experienced lawyer to free Teddy before he can reveal the inner workings of his criminal family. Rebecca is personally invested in the investigation since the Lobos killed her father, a respected police captain. The decapitated body of Joe and Mitch's companions are brought to a severely frail and decaying-looking Dracula by Renfield, but he rejects them since they are junkies. Innocents like nuns or cheerleaders must be brought to him. A pen Rebecca and Chris recovered at a murder scene that Renfield used to stab Joe came from the same restaurant, so Renfield grudgingly goes there to look for innocents as they arrive. To assassinate Rebecca, Teddy and the other Lobos thugs arrive. Teddy threatens Rebecca as they enter with their pistols drawn, but Rebecca tells him to shoot before she ever decides to follow his advice. Teddy is then made fun of by Rebecca, who claims that he has probably never fired a gun. Rebecca has an opportunity to fight as Renfield takes a fly and tackles Teddy. All of the Lobos are killed by Renfield's amputations and fork stabbings, but Teddy escapes. Renfield receives gratitude from Rebecca for his assistance and displays obvious feelings for her. Renfield returns to his lair, where Dracula has taken a few victims, in order to partially regain his normal shape. Then, in an effort to raise a legions of familiars to carry out his orders, he demonstrates to Renfield how he intends to rule the world once he reaches his full potential. Renfield returns to the group discussion and introduces Dracula as his employer while discussing his relationship with him. Renfield is urged by the group to take action to better his life after leaving Dracula, including looking for his own place and making his own happiness. Teddy and the other Lobos are sent by Bella to pursue Renfield. They eventually make it to Dracula's lair, where Teddy is the only one who survives. Dracula is furious and feels betrayed by his helper when he admits that he is there for Renfield. Renfield's apartment is visited by Dracula, who enters after noticing a welcome mat in front of the door. Renfield gets punished by him for leaving him and attempting independence. He is also told by Dracula that he is the real monster because he left his wife and children behind to work for him. When a book was provided to Renfield at the support group, he attempted to employ its strategies, but Dracula took it and noticed a sticker identifying the church where the group meets. Renfield pursues him quickly. Renfield goes to the church to alert the group and get them out, but when Dracula shows up, group leader Mark inadvertently welcomes the count inside. He shows himself to the gathering before executing everyone and devouring their flesh. He makes fun of Renfield before departing, and when Rebecca and Chris show up a while later, they take Renfield into custody for thinking he killed everyone. As Rebecca takes Renfield away while in handcuffs, many police vehicles arrive, along with Bella and the Lobos, confirming Rebecca's fears that the police, including Chris and Captain Browning, are working together with the criminals. Rebecca shoots a transformer to divert attention from everyone and give herself a chance to flee with Renfield despite Browning's best efforts to persuade her to join them. Rebecca gets shot in the shoulder but makes it out. Renfield brings Rebecca to hide with him at his apartment. She can believe him because he is still handcuffed, and he admits to having served for Dracula for ages. As Renfield and Rebecca leave the apartment, a SWAT squad of corrupt police officers start to raid the building in an attempt to apprehend them. Renfield, who consumes ants, then decimates the police, ripping them apart, trampling on their heads, pulling a man's face off, and even impaling 2 men with severed arms. Although scared, Rebecca is grateful for her rescue. Dracula goes back to Teddy and offers to work with the Lobos to help the Count build an army for his plan to conquer the entire world. Dracula decapitates Browning and shows himself to Bella, who is impressed. When Teddy brings him to see his mother, Dracula uses telepathy to converse with Renfield to taunt him. Rebecca learns that they have Kate from her, and she and Renfield arm themselves and prepare to face Dracula and the Lobos. When the two get at the Lobos building, they discover that Teddy and the other Lobos have been transformed into superpowered familiars. While Renfield engages in combat with the Lobos, Rebecca races to find Kate since Teddy is the only survivor. Teddy bragged about his abilities, but Renfield said it was a curse. Renfield grabs a bug and eats it. He kicks Teddy so forcefully that he violently shits himself to death and spits blood. Rebecca discovers that Kate has already passed away after being savagely beaten by the Lobos. In an effort to resuscitate Kate with his blood, Dracula tries to convince her to join him. Rebecca attempts to open the curtains so that Dracula may be exposed to the sunlight as Rebecca pretends to be prepared to join Renfield as he watches. Until the two catch up with him, he transforms into a bat and flees. Renfield is knocked unconscious, and Dracula then attempts to kill Rebecca, but Rebecca shoots Dracula in the foot, forcing him to bleed on Renfield and giving him the boost he needs. Renfield rips out Dracula's fangs and slams his face against the floor. Then, having said the spell, Rebecca captures the Count in a ring of cocaine. After beating him to a pulp, Renfield and Rebecca ripped him to pieces, disposed of his remains in cement, and threw them into a sewer. Kate is revived using Dracula's blood by the two, and she and Rebecca then arrest Bella. The support group is subsequently brought back to life by Renfield using Dracula's blood. They are grateful but also disturbed since they've died. Rebecca and Renfield are now good friends, and he is getting ready to start a new life as a free man.